Wow, I actually did it. I'm in math. This is awesome. It's okay, nothing can hurt me here. Wait a second. Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Wheeler and welcome to another episode of Lost in Math. Today we're continuing our work on the coordinate plane and learning about slope-intercept form. We're not actually learning about slope-intercept form for a few minutes, so forget I said anything. First thing I want to talk about is intercepts. If we remember, our coordinate plane is made up of two axes, a y-axis and an x-axis. And an intercept, a y-intercept, is where a graph crosses the y-axis, and an x-intercept is where a graph crosses the x-axis. So on our notes, we have three examples of identifying x and y-intercepts. So if we look at those graphs, could you identify the x-intercept and the y-intercept? Our line in example 1 crosses the x-axis there at 2. So our x-intercept is at 2. It crosses the y-axis there at 1. So my y-intercept is 1. On example 2, my x-intercept is at 2 because it crosses the x-axis there at 2. My y-intercept is there at -4 because it crosses the y-axis at -4. Example 3, my x-intercept is at -3 there, and my y-intercept is at -1. So if we remember our notes on slope, card in the top right-hand corner, if I want to graph a line, I just need two things, a point on the line and the slope of a line. So on our example here, it asks us to graph a line with a y-intercept -4 and a slope of +2. So it gives us those two things, a point on the line. It gives us the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is at -4. So I know a point on my line will be there at -4 on the y-axis. So I plot that. And then it also tells me my slope is +2, or 2 over 1. So to find all my other points on the line, I could go up to, forward 1, plot a point, up to, forward 1, up to, forward 1, up to, forward 1. And now I could plot all my points on the line, connect them with a nice line, arrows at the end, and that is my line that starts at -4 on the y-axis and has a slope of +2. Next, it asked me to plot all my ordered pairs in this table provided. I got 5 ordered pairs, so I'll write them all down. I got one at 0, -4, one at 1, -2, one at 2, 0, one at 3, 2, and one at 4, 4. Now it asks us to write an equation. Luckily, we already know how to find an equation given a table of values. So let's go to the memory palace. So if we look at our table of values, our x increases by 1 each time. So if I look at my change in y, it goes up by 2 each time. See? So this gives us a clue about our equation. Since it goes up by 2 each time, that is my rate of change. That +2 is the number multiplying x. So I know my equation looks something like y equals 2 times x. When I plug in a 0 for my input. I want to get out a -4 for my output. When I plug a 0 into this equation I just found, I get out a 0, not a -4. To change a 0 into a -4, I could subtract 4. So we'll try the equation y equals 2x minus 4 and see if that works. When I plug in a 0, I get out a -4. When I plug in a 1, I get out a -2. When I plug in a 2, I get out a 0. When I plug in a 3, I get out a 2. When I plug in a 4, I get out a 4. So my equation that describes this table of values is y equals 2x minus 4. So my equation, y equals 2x minus 4, is actually written in what we like to call slope-intercept form. We like slope-intercept form because when I look at an equation, I can easily tell what my slope and what my y-intercept are. So if I wanted to graph a line given an equation, if it's in slope-intercept form, I can find the two things I need to graph a line: a starting point, my y-intercept, and the slope of a line, So in general, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M stands for your slope, and b is your y-intercept. So on my last equation, y equals 2x minus 4, 2 would have been my slope, which it was, and -4 is my y-intercept, which it also was. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. So there's a bunch of examples down below on your notes of equations written in slope-intercept form, and it asks you to identify the slope of each of these equations and the y-intercept of each one. So take a moment, see if you can do that. On example 1, y equals 3x plus 8. My slope would be 3, and my y-intercept would be 8. 3 is the number multiplying x. It would be my m when it's written in standard form, which it is, and 8 is the number getting added. So slope 3, y-intercept 8. On number 2, my slope is 4 and my y-intercept is -3. Slope is 4 because that's the number multiplying x. My y-intercept, now slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. This is -3. If you want to change subtraction into addition, we can SCO. So -3 is the same thing as plus -3. So my y-intercept is at -3. But whenever it's subtraction, we can just remember that my y-intercept will be negative. So since it's -3, my y-intercept will be at -3. Example 3, my slope is 2/3. That's the number multiplying my x. And my y-intercept is +2. That's the number getting added. Example 4, my slope is -3/5, and my y-intercept is -6. Example 5 is y equals 2 plus 4x. It's not written in the normal standard form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. My x term comes first. So if I wanted to turn this problem around, thanks to the commutative property of addition, 2 plus 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 2. I could just turn this problem around. So it's y equals 4x plus 2. So now it's in our normal form. So my slope would be 4, and my y-intercept would be 2. Slope is your number multiplying your x. So 4 is a number with x, so that's its slope. And 2 is the number by itself, so that's the y-intercept. Number 6, y equals 3 minus 2x. I can't just turn this problem around. The commutative property only works with addition, not subtraction. So if I wanted to turn this problem around, I could SCO first. Same, change, opposite. That's how we change subtraction problems into addition. So if I SCO'd this, it would turn into 3 plus -2x. Now it's addition. I can flip it around. So this is the same equation as y equals -2x plus 3. My slope is -2, the number multiplying my x, and my y-intercept is +3, the number getting added. The last two examples on our notes gives us an equation written in slope-intercept form and asks us to graph it. So you'll look at the equation, find the slope, find the y-intercept. The y-intercept will be your starting point. Your slope will be how you find all other points on the graph. Connect all your points with a line, and you're done. So why don't you take a moment to try and graph those lines. The first example, y equals 3x minus 4. Negative 4 is my y-intercept, so that's where I start, at negative 4 on the y-axis. My slope is positive 3, or 3 over 1. So to find my other points, I would go up 3, forward 1, plot a point, and then do that over and over again till I found all of my points, and then connect them with a line, and there's your graph. The last problem, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. 3 is my y-intercept, so that's where I start, at positive 3 on the y-axis. My slope is negative 1/2. That's down 1, forward 2, plot a point, and then do that over and over again until I get all the points on my graph, connect my points with a straight line, arrows on the end, and that's my graph. All right, that wraps up our notes on slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We can use this to easily graph lines by finding the y-intercept and the slope. Click like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Wheeler and this is Lost, and we're not actually talking about the slope-intercept form. Coordinate plane is made up of two axes, a y-axis, I'm looking the wrong way, starting over. Killing it! Back when we learned about slope, card in the top right-hand corner. Wait. That's the other direction. Right hand would be up there. So if we remember our notes on slope, card in the top right-hand corner. I can't do it. Point on the line and the slope of a line. So I should have known what I was up to. Forward 1. I'm going to start over, I guess. Up 2, forward 1. Why would I look down so fast? On our example here, it tells us that it wants us got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I got 5. What am I going to say? Okay. Why is the color all weird? Slope is 4. It's the number multiplying my x. My y-intercept, standard form of a slope-intercept form. Okay. Example. Example 5 is y equals 2 plus 4x. It's not written Pausing. Use the slope to find other points. Connect your lines. Connect your dots, not your lines. Example. The first example is y equals. The first example, y equals. Ow! Stretch more often. Note to self. Stop.